Hello, this is Adrian Midori. Welcome to Wrestle Talk. Today we'll be doing a longer video than usual, but we'll be talking about Cody Rhodes again. And we'll be talking about how I would book him completing his story. Because that was a really big debate about how Cody Rhodes should finish his story. So let's begin with, we're going to go from, this is going to be quite a longer video, so let's split it into two parts. We're going to be talking about the road to SummerSlam, the Rumble Part 2, and WrestleMania and beyond. So it's going to start with Royal Rumble to SummerSlam and how his story plays out, and then, So let's begin with part 1 of the whole entire story. It'll be one video but split into parts, so let's begin. So as you know, the 2024 Royal Rumble begins. The first two entrants are Cody Rhodes and CM Punk. They fight back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The next person comes in, which will be Jimmy Uso, and he helps CM Punk take control of the match. And, we fill up the ring with the rest of the competitors, and then, lo and behold, there's, the final four is Jimmy, Jay, and CM Punk and Cody. So we thought, but we forget. But number 30 comes out, and it's Dwayne Johnson, and he immediately eliminates Jimmy and Jay. And now it's CM Punk, Cody, and The Rock. So Cody wins the Rumble. No. So Cody thinks he's going to win the Rumble because it's him and The Rock now. But out of nowhere, Roman Reigns comes in the ring to cost Cody Rhodes the opportunity to face him at WrestleMania. And The Rock immediately grabs the microphone and say, "Roman, The Rock has come back to challenge you at WrestleMania." And that made it official the same night. So then we go to Raw. Adam Pearce comes to the ring. He announces that there will be Elimination Chamber qualifying matches tonight. And the men's tournament will be Cody versus Shinsuke to kick off the show for the number 1 contendership at WrestleMania for Seth Rollins' World Heavyweight title. So from there, we go to, the beginning of the match begins. It's Cody versus Seth. They go back and forth, back and forth. Seth Rollins hits a stop from off the top rope. Somehow Cody gets up at the count of 2 and kicks out. So, then Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins tries to go for it again. Cody Rhodes meets him on top and hits a crossroad outside. Puts Seth Rollins, grabs Seth Rollins, hold him for another crossroads. He brings him back in the ring. but Seth's foot is on the rope. And then, once Cody realizes that, he tries to drag Seth Rollins, tries to pin him again, but Seth Rollins somehow kicks out at 2. And then Seth Rollins tried to go for a stomp again, but Cody Rhodes lifted him up, cut him in a crossroads, and wins the match. That will be the first qualifier for Elimination Chamber. I mean, Seth Rollins wasn't gonna be in there, but they wanted to have like, hey, maybe Seth Rollins would not have to defend his title. You know, it was like one of those situations where the champion could enter the Money in the Bank, so he would have no challenger. It was one of those situations, except Cody stopped that from happening. So Cody beat the champion, so Seth Rollins now has to defend his championship no matter what. So the first person will be Cody. Then we get Jay Uso, Bronson Reed. And then we get 2 SmackDown stars. We get 3 SmackDown stars. LA Knight, AJ Styles, and Solo Sikoa. So, the next sequential event doesn't... Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, the reason why Cody faced Seth Rollins is Shinsuke got taken out of the match by Sami Zayn. It's to start a little feud between them. So then we go to Elimination Chamber. The first 2 out are LA Knight and of course Bronson Reed. So they're going back and forth, back and forth. LA Knight, you know, hits the BFT, the blood force trauma, and tries to pin Bronson Reed, but he kicks out. So then the next person comes out, and it's Solo Sikoa. And Solo comes in the match dominant, and he dominates everyone and gets the pin on Bronson Reed. So now, during that time, his brother Jay Uso comes out and starts utterly attacking him. And they go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. LA Knight hits a few cool moves, and then the next person comes out, which is the phenomenal one, AJ Styles. So, of course, he hits a few top rope moves. That was to be expected. And he hits Solo Sikoa with a phenomenal forearm. And then we get to AJ Styles. Then we get to then we get everyone in the ring now. So now, the next person eliminated is AJ Styles. Then we eliminate Solo Sikoa. So now it's Cody versus Jay versus I think, because those are the final 2 that we watch about, so that's where we go. It ended up being a final between Cody and Jay, and it goes back and forth for a little bit before Cody Rhodes hits a crossroads and eliminates Jay Uso. We'll continue this part after. So let me continue where I was at. So after Elimination Chamber, Cody Rhodes on the next episode of Monday Night Raw is like, Seth, see you at Mania. And then basically Cody Rhodes have a little brawl with Seth Rollins, leading to the guards and stuff having to pull them away from each other. Ultimately, this would lead to, you guessed it, a one-on-one match against the two again. So, this time, Seth Rollins actually hits the top rope stomp. And then instead of going straight for the pin, he goes for another stomp, hits another stomp, and then pins Cody Rhodes. The match basically goes the same pace and is almost exactly like the last one, but this time, Seth Rollins picks up the win and beats Cody Rhodes for the first time ever. And Seth Rollins picks up the microphone. So I'm better than you in every way. You know that crazy laugh he does. You know the one. And that basically leads to Cody Rhodes, after the match, saying, "You know I beat you like 5 times now." And they brawl again. So Adam Pearce comes out and be like, "How about this? At WrestleMania, we add a stipulation to your title match. No disqualification for the World Heavyweight Championship at the main event of Night 1. So, the next significant event in this story will be WrestleMania. So, the show begins with not Cody versus Rollins, that's the main event of Night 1, but with The Rock saying, with The Rock, talking about how he's gonna beat Roman Reigns and finish his story, unlike Cody Rhodes, and basically that's how the show starts off. This will be important later on, trust me. So then, from after all that just happened, we finally get into whatchamacallit. You know what I'm talking about. We finally get to the main event match, which is Cody versus Seth Rollins, no disqualification. So Cody makes his big entrance. Seth Rollins also makes his big entrance. And the match is going back and forth. The first big hit of the match is when Seth Rollins pedigrees Cody onto the announcer's table and breaks it. He goes for the stomp, but Cody hits him over the head with a steel chair. And blood starts pouring onto Seth Rollins' face. So they go back and forth again for a little bit. Cody beats Seth Rollins with the kendo stick. And hits a stomp on Cody. Cody hits a stomp on Rollins to bring back the match to his favor. So then, from there, you could guess what happened. Cody eventually gets Seth Rollins into the crossroads, and Seth Rollins somehow kicks out. And from that point forward, Cody Rhodes is still in control, and then Rollins, Cody makes a mistake, puts a steel chair right in the floor, and he started pounding it, leaving Seth Rollins on the top rope to hit a stomp, which drops Cody headfirst into the steel chair, and Seth Rollins hits a concerto on Cody Rhodes. Cody somehow kicks out, hits a Cody cutter for the 1, 2, 3. And Cody wins the World Championship. So, next night on Raw, Cody announces that he has a specific man he wants to challenge. A very specific man who he wants to challenge to be able to win the championship that night. Dwayne Johnson. He's calling him out for the next pay-per-view, which will be the first pay-per-view in Paris, France. WrestleMania Backlash. He specifically calls out The Rock. He's like, I heard what you said about me the other day. That you were going to do something I couldn't, but you couldn't do anything either. You couldn't do it either. And then, The Rock comes out, does his usual talking stuff, and then he basically accepts. Then we go to next week on Raw, where Cody has a match against Finn Balor of the Judgment Day. So they go back and forth for a bit until Cody Rhodes hits a crossroads, and then all of a sudden you hear The Rock's theme song, and The Rock plants Cody out with the rock bottom, and the match ends in a disqualification. So then, the next week on Raw, The Rock is talking to the people about why he's doing this. Cody attacks him from behind with a steel chair and really putting the work in on The Rock, like beating him up really bad. And from there, we head to, you guessed it, the WrestleMania Backlash. Just Backlash this year in France, where Cody Rhodes versus The Rock happens, and they go back and forth. The Rock, hits all of his moves. Cody kept kicking out of all of The Rock's really big moves, leaving The Rock to try to hit one from the top rope, but Cody Rhodes stunned him enough. The Rock was standing on the rope, and Cody hit a Cody cutter on The Rock from off the top rope, and then while still grabbing onto him, he got crossed Rhodes for a kick out. And you think that's where it ends? Because then, out of nowhere, Cody Rhodes hits another 2 crossed roads to retain the title. But wait a minute. Damian Priest comes in. Cashes in Money in the Bank on Cody. And Damian Priest is your new WWE World Heavyweight Champion after hitting his finisher. So, you could imagine, after this, a major event in WWE that happens quite often, the WWE Draft happens. Cody and Roman end up on SmackDown together. While Damian Priest stays on Raw, Seth Rollins also moves to SmackDown. This will be important. So, now we go to the first SmackDown, heading into the show of whatchamacallit, heading into Crown Jewel. Heading into Crown Jewel in the month of June. So, Cody's like, now that I'm finally at the same show as Roman, I'm going to face Roman. So he goes by that mentality, and so on the first SmackDown of the night, guess who challenges him? L.A. Knight, yeah! And L.A. Knight ends up beating Cody Rhodes in a minute. Under a minute. He just went in the ring. Cody hit a few moves. He hit the BTF, the Blood Force, the BFT, the Blood Force Trauma, pinned Cody Rhodes. It was very anticlimactic. And Cody's like, what happened? So then we go to next week's SmackDown. 2 weeks before the pay-per-view, Cody has a match against Seth Rollins. He doesn't fare any better here. This time he lasts a 5-minute match that goes back and forth for a little bit before Seth Rollins hits the stomp and pins Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes, the next week, Cody Rhodes realized he lost 2 matches in a row, and he's deciding to go after another new star at the pay-per-view, Carmelo Hayes. So he's like, hey Carmelo, you think you're the stuff? You're young. You know nothing about this business yet. Basically acknowledging that Carmelo Hayes is basically a rookie to the main roster and not worth his time facing him, which didn't go over well. People were booing, and then Carmelo Hayes is like, and then Cody gets put into a match, not with Carmelo Hayes, but with Trick Williams, who makes his debut. Even though him and Carmelo Hayes are rivalry, this match goes back and forth until Carmelo Hayes interferes, costing Cody the match. And then, of course, he lays out Trick Williams just to, add a little, just to add a little oomph to it. So from there, you'll never guess where we go. We go to next week on SmackDown, where Cody loses to Cedric Alexander, but this time he got cost the match again. So Cody then takes the match, and he's like, Carmelo Hayes at the pay-per-view, which was this week. I challenge you. And they make it official. That was the whole plan. I already made it official, but this is what was the plan, for him to face him. So then at the pay-per-view Crown Jewel, Cody Rhodes keeps losing and losing and losing and losing and losing and losing and losing. After Crown Jewel, which Carmelo Hayes beat him, he kept losing and losing and losing. He didn't even make it to Money in the Bank. That's how bad he did. He lost his qualifying match, didn't even make it into the card. In July. So then we go into August, where first SummerSlam happens. So they announce a number one contendership battle royal. Winner faces Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. And to no one's surprise, this happened on Friday Night SmackDown. There was like The Miz was drafted there, Bronson Breed, AJ Styles, LA Knight, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, and Jimmy Uso all were in it, and Cody Rhodes won it, last eliminating the phenomenal AJ Styles. So that means it's Cody versus Roman. So then nothing major happens until the show. Roman Reigns doesn't appear to even talk about Cody Rhodes, because that's how much of a threat Roman Reigns sees him as. So then the match happens. SummerSlam, Cody's second opportunity to face Roman Reigns. By the way, the winner of this year's Money in the Bank was Ricochet. So, out of nowhere, Roman Reigns spares, the match begins, Ricochet comes, sits out, watches it. Roman Reigns hits a spear to Cody Rhodes right immediately, try to go for a pin. They go back and forth for a long time, like 5-10 minutes, before Cody goes 10 minutes, and then Cody gets back in control, dominates for 10 minutes, and then ultimately Roman Reigns goes for a Superman punch. Cody catches it, turns it for a crossroad. 1, 2, 3, and winner and new undisputed champion, Cody Rhodes. That's how SummerSlam goes for him. So if you want to see the part 2 to this, where we talk about what happens to him after, because it will get more interesting, trust me. We'll continue where Cody left off for part 2.